back. This is the final part of my interview with Stephen Garvey of the National Citizens Alliance. Mr. Garvey, I got a question from someone. I don't know what your knowledge is on this, but Tamajit, one of my subscribers, he asked you, he's saying the most important question at this moment is if Stephen Garvey supports bringing back Section 13 of the Canadian hate speech law. Do you know about that, and what's your opinion on it?
I don't know about that section specifically, but I will tell you this, is that NCA supports rescinding the hate speech laws entirely.
Yeah.
We believe that they're redundant. We have the Canadian Criminal Code. We have the Canadian Human Rights Act. Unfortunately, the hate speech laws are being used unreasonably to suppress freedom of speech. So we have a policy on our website at National Citizens Alliance, rescind the hate speech laws.
Right, because it means hate speech is really in the eye of the beholder. This
Exactly.
could be hate speech to some people.
And it's being abused in the courts. We have read cases, and the judges are unfortunately biased, probably unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we believe that these laws are redundant, and they're being used either intentionally or unintentionally to censor free speech. We don't need them. Let's get rid of them. We don't support overt racism, supremacy, anything like that.
Yeah, you're not a Are you a racist, white supremacist?
Zero.
Okay. Just
Zero.
one. We have to ask.
Zero, Michael. So
hey, man, found it right there.
Yeah, I got friends of all different backgrounds. People are people. Judge them for who they are and how they act.
Having said that, though, let's do a quick lightning round. I want to first start with immigration. What are your criteria for people? What would you say are the conditions for people to enter Canada? I've always said my conditions: you have to know English or French, be financially independent, you have no criminal background from your previous country, and you cannot have come here illegally a previous time. What are your criteria for that?
We would add on to that, make sure that your belief system, your values are consistent with our Canadian values and beliefs. Mm-hmm. Vis-a-vis, we don't want any radical extremists entering our country. We make that very clear in our immigration policy. And most importantly, immigration should not be used to replace Canada's traditional population like it is, mm-hmm. and has been since the 90s through sustained mass immigration. Immigration should be a supplement to our natural traditional population, number one.
Right.
Immigration should be in the best interest of our people rather than select corporations.
Yeah. Or like just out of some bleeding right heart, thing.
Having said that, we support a moratorium on immigration with no fixed end date. There's an 11-year backlog. There's a lot of irregularities with the chain migration, and there's issues obviously with illegal migration. So we would have a moratorium. We are committed to 50,000 or less total immigration per year.
Okay, great.
We will not go above 50,000 total.
That's
including refugees, illegal migrants, the whole wham bam.
Okay. I'm going to quickly get some more bread and butter issues, and then I have a question about something that I did hear about in the media, which I was curious about. These are just, brief, little descriptions on how you'd solve it. How would you balance our budget and pay down our debt?
Well, the first thing is dealing with the Bank of Canada. Mm-hmm. As I said, there's over $30 billion a year in federal tax dollars that are going in debt service payments.
Right.
So we have to address that. We support NCA mandatory balanced budgets. I know that there's some people who don't like that because it limits the maneuverability of a government, but we believe the debt is so out of control that is the only sane, reasonable thing to do at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And because right now what's happening is different mainstream parties get in there, they build up the debt, they pass it on.
Right.
And there's some historical facts that everyone needs to know. Since 1968, the conservatives, the so-called conservatives, I don't view them as conservative, they've added over 482.8 billion to the federal debt since 1968.
Right.
482.
So you support.
Hold on a sec. The Liberals since 1968 have added 214.9 billion.
Okay.
The Conservatives have added more than double in 19 years in office versus Liberals in 26 years. Both are fiscally irresponsible, and you could argue criminally fiscally irresponsible.
Right.
668 billion added to the federal debt since 1968.
So,
Michael, that's wrong.
I agree with you 100%.
Added 144 billion.
Yeah.
Trudeau's on the same pace.
So yeah, I mean,
the biggest culprit in this fiscal irresponsibility is Brian Mulroney, a conservative.
Well, yeah,
that's 300 billion.
Yeah, he had the largest cabinet, first of all.
But we need to understand the history, because there's an agenda by certain so-called conservatives to always blame liberals and pretend to be fiscally responsible.
Right. So what would you do that's different? Like I know you want to transform the monetary system, monetary reform, Bank of Canada back into people's hands.
Major cut to the welfare system.
Okay.
Major rein in on immigration, which will save billions of dollars.
Okay then. That's good.
So NCA is all about Canadians first. All our savings will go to debt payback, and to Canadians truly in need.
Okay, great.
We figure we can save, Michael, through our fiscal plan, over $150 billion a year.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Oh, that's a lot. We'll see.
The problem with these mainstream parties, they are not held accountable for all the debt they're adding.
Yeah.
And also, they pander for votes by trying to buy off certain groups.
You think maybe there should be a sunshine list, just like Ontario has? Like whereby the government discloses how much people in the government are making, how much they're making, and then people can
100%.
Yeah.
That's the public should know that.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. But we need to rein this all in. The problem with Ottawa, it's top-down, dictatorial. As far as we're concerned, all the mainstream parties are really working together behind the scenes.
Right.
You can see that through the Privy Council. Who's on the Privy Council, which is Canada's shadow government? It's made up of Liberals and Conservatives. Why was Harper in India working with Trudeau recently?
Right.
That's another example. They're all just mixed together.
Right.
Bernier, as far as we're concerned, he's just backup plan E. The establishment is terrified of a true populist nationalist party getting a foothold.
Well, notice how they put him on the media a lot, and they never put you on there.
Yeah, we're never on. That means...
Yeah, we're running low on time, so I just wanted to say that, yeah.
That means we're true.
Yeah. So quickly, another quick foreign question. You notice I don't mention like healthcare and stuff because those are provincial issues. The federal government has no right to be interfering with that stuff when it's provincial. I want to ask your opinion on like a Middle Eastern question. Israel and Palestine. What is your opinion on Zionism and all that stuff? I know Harper was a big Zionist. Trudeau, I mean, I don't think he understands it. But if there was what is your opinion on, what is your view on this whole thing?
Yeah, we don't deal with that. We don't have an issue with Zionism. Zionism, in our opinion, is just Israeli nationalism.
Right. Would you say that? Okay, I understand what you're saying. Would you, Israel is not friendly with Iran. Let's put it that way. They're not friendly with Iran. So, do you feel that a lot of our Okay, I have a better question.
Okay.
There are some politicians out there who have actually called for banning groups like BDS, the boycott, divestment, sanctions, and all that stuff, because it's unfriendly towards Israel. And I've always said, that's a sting on free speech. Why should this country? I just want to know, what would you support something like that? Banning. I know that you say you don't have a problem with it, but would you go as far as doing things like banning BDS and anti-Israeli movements for being anti-Israel? And would you call someone like me, who is skeptical of Zionism, an anti-Semite?
We wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But we view the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization.
I agree with you.
So we would ban it from that standpoint.
I agree with you.
So in terms of political Islam, we have a policy where we want to ban the practice of it in Canada because we believe it's completely in contradiction with our fundamental values, civil rights, liberties. So we have just cause there, in our opinion.
Yeah.
But we agree with you, Michael. You have to be very careful when you're banning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you become a tyrant.
Right.
Right? And again, it has to be about our people, our country.
Exactly.
Fundamental.
I think that we should, in terms of even campaign finance, a lot of these politicians get money from a lot of different foreign businesses and foreign individuals. Would you say that our politicians should not be allowed to take a dime from people who don't live in Canada or businesses not associated with Canada?
Are you talking about gifts?
No, like donations, like political donations.
Well, according to the Federal Elections Act, you're not allowed to receive foreign donations, Michael.
Oh, that's good.
It's against the law.
Well, that's good. I mean, but the thing is that it just seems as though there's a lot of there's a lot of foreign meddling, and I don't mean Russia. I mean George Soros and all those individuals,
yes,
who are interfering with Justin Trudeau and all these different people. I mean, plenty of reports.
What about the Koch brothers?
The Koch brothers, all those kind of people.
We're funding all 13 think tanks in Canada pushing their globalist trade.
Yeah, it's just something that I think needs to really, really be looked into. We only have 3 more minutes. I want to know, there was something that happened between you and Sandra Solomon, and what was that? What was that all about? I'm really not a big fan of hers, to be honest with you. But what happened between you guys?
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. There was an event, it was a couple of years ago, I believe, and there was a lot of tension in Calgary at the time. We ended up taking on the permit at the time. So we were responsible for the venue. There was another group involved, and they wanted to make it into a hate fest against Islam. We had a member invite different groups from the university because we believe in dialogue. We don't care whether you oppose us. We're open to debating you, Michael. That's where the problem arose. They wanted to have a Islam hate fest. We're a federal political party. We wanted to have a dialogue. I was attacked because I had a black Christian speaker.
Really?
I was attacked because I had a Sikh speaker. I was attacked because I had another minority speaker.
Disgraceful.
I was told we only want white speakers.
Disgraceful. We just have a couple seconds.
It was actually disgraceful. And then I was verbally assaulted by...
Stephen, I think you're the real deal. I'm
just telling you what happened, but we can't go there, Michael.
Yeah, we can't.
There was a beautiful black Christian Nigerian speaker we had slated. And this has never happened to me before. Michael, it's sickening. I was verbally assaulted by a group of people. Because we only want white speakers.
Yeah. 1 second, Stephen. I'm just going to end this one, and then we're going to actually, for real, go to our final closing statements. 1 second. We're going to go to our closing after this.